Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. RowPaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
It's time for the Lithia Ford of Boise post-game show from Bronco Nation News. We're breaking down the game with highlights, interviews, analysis, and most importantly, you. Give your thoughts on the game in the YouTube chat or Facebook comments, and we'll include the best ones on the show. Check out LithiaFordBoise.com to view their full inventory of vehicles, or check them out at 8853 West Fairview in Boise. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktails Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now let's head out and join BJ Rains for the Lithia Ford of Boise post-game show from Bronco Nation News.
Well, the scene post-game was the Boise State football team heading through the fans. Fans were enjoying this one, having the last word as Boise State falls 37-30 at Fresno State. Fans booing, some even throwing some trash there. And you had some fans chanting. Kind of a weird scene, kind of how they have to walk right through the fans like that, but certainly not something that Boise State was excited to do, especially, and the Fresno State fans had fun with that one after a 37-30 win for the Fresno State Bulldogs. My name is BJ Rains. Let's switch the microphone there. There we go. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better. Welcome on into the Lithia Ford of Boise postgame show. We are in the Cutwater Studios here at Bulldog Stadium. Make sure to pick up one of more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store, and may need a couple more after tonight's game for Boise State. They fall 37-30. As I said, to the Fresno State Bulldogs, and want to get your comments, want to get your questions, and let us know your thoughts. We got 76 of you right now watching this at 12:50 in the morning back in Boise, and that number is only going to grow. So anyone ready for basketball season? Got the comment there, and that is Tuesday night against Vanguard will be that first basketball game. So we have Andy Avalos comments. We got Maddox Madsen comments to get to. I went ahead actually because the Wi-Fi was working good while we were interviewing the players, and got the interviews already posted to YouTube of Andy Avalos and Maddox Madsen. Where to start on this one, though? Boise State's defense, I thought at times made some plays, but just couldn't make enough. In the end, couldn't get that stop late in the game when they needed to keep it a one-score game. Obviously, the kick return at halftime, Andy Avalos talked about the fact that, he put it on himself, but he said, we need to do a better job of telling the kicker where to kick the ball. So he kind of put it on Jonah a little bit too. It's a situation where they wanted to squib kick, but when you squib kick, you can't get the ball all the way back to the returner. Is what Andy said. So he needed to kick that. He kicked it too hard. It was a hard line drive that bounced right to the kicker, and that kind of set things up. So on a squib kick, you don't want the kick going all the way down. That was obviously a huge play. You had the weird invalid fair catch signal by Austin Bolt. It is what it is, and appreciate that, Pierce. Props to BJ for providing content this late. Saw another nice comment there as well, I believe, from Hunter Chapman. Also giving us some shout outs. Thanks for the coverage. Appreciate that. No, it's fun, and we can go as late as you guys want tonight or as short as you want based on the comments and how things are going. We're up over 100 people now watching this at 12:51 a.m. All over the United States and back in Boise. But the reality is now Boise State 4-5. And going to have to work just to get to a bowl game. Going to have to work to extend the nation's longest winning streak, 25 straight winning seasons for Boise State, and that is now in some jeopardy after the Broncos fall to 4-5.
on the season. So you got New Mexico at home, you got a road game at Utah State, and you got Air Force, and you got to find a way to win 2 out of 3, or you don't get that winning record. So Boise State now 4-5. If they win out, they're 7-5. They got to have 2 out of 3 again just to get to 6-6 and get to a bowl game. I mean, are we guaranteeing this team wins 2 out of the next 3 games? I don't know if they are. So Boise State's got some work to do just to get to a bowl game at this point. And you can go up and down the roster. Where to start with the quarterbacks? Once again, you had a situation where Taylon Green started the game and literally played one snap for Taylon Green, and then they went to the bench and went to Maddox Madsen. That's almost comical at this point. I mean, it really is. To start Taylon Green because he deserves it, and then after one play to take him out, I just don't understand it. And I'll say this, 42 pass attempts for Maddox Madsen. I think that Maddox Madsen has to be your starting quarterback next week. If he's not, then Taylon Green needs to play the whole game. You cannot continue to start Taylon Green at this point if Maddox Madsen is going to play as much as he did. I get it, they were behind. They had to move the ball. Maddox Madsen put up some decent numbers. He was 22 of 42, passed for about 250 yards, 258 yards. But again, the completion percentage was barely over 50%. He had an interception, and let's be honest, he had a couple more that probably should have been intercepted. That was he had a couple passes. There was one that was almost a pick six. There was another one. I can think of 3 passes that really probably should have been intercepted that Maddox Madsen threw tonight. But 42 pass attempts for Maddox Madsen, only 2 pass attempts for Taylon Green. I think that it's pretty clear that Maddox Madsen is the number 1 quarterback, I think, on this team. And so I just don't know how you start Taylon Green if you're going to play Maddox Madsen the entire game again. That's now 4 straight games. Maddox Madsen has played more snaps. Now, again, maybe they look at the film and they decide, hey, we didn't like what we saw. We got to go to Green. That's fine. But if you're going to start Taylon Green, you need to play Taylon Green. I don't understand starting him and then on the second play of the game. And those are scripted. The first 10 plays are scripted. So they had a plan all along to give Taylon Green 1 play and then take out Maddox, take him out and put in Maddox Madsen on the second play of the game. That was very interesting that the way they decided to do that. And again, we'll see moving forward what happens. But I fully think at this point, if you're going to barely play Taylon Green, there's really no reason to be starting Taylon Green at this point. So it is what it is. But Maddox Madsen, 22 of 42, had an interception, again, 258 yards, a touchdown. You had Taylon Green 1 of 2. Let's give some props to James Ferguson Reynolds. How about that fake punt? That did take some cojones from Andy Avalos to go for it there. It worked. 4th and 12. James Ferguson Reynolds, I think we all thought when he had a fake punt, he was just going to take off and run on one of those rollouts, but he found Jaden Virgin, the former tight end, for the completion, and they picked up a huge first down there, and then they end up turning that into a field goal, and that made it a 7-point game at that point. So you really thought, okay, they rolled the dice, it paid off, and they're going to be able to find a way to come back and win the game, but just could not make enough stops. I think Fresno State came right back down the field pretty quickly, if I remember, converted a 3rd down, got down there, kicked a field goal, went back up by 10 points at that point. So just couldn't quite pull it off, but you felt pretty good about it. Boise State scored with 4:40 left. Really nice run, 27 yards for the touchdown for Maddox Madsen. And you thought, okay, Boise State's in business here, but they just were unable to make that stop, and it went back to the 10-point game. And then I actually thought, the touchdown that Fresno State scored, they actually did Boise State a favor. They should have gone down there before the end zone. The game would have been over, but they scored. Then Boise State came down, got the field goal with 40 seconds left, and then had a chance at the onside kick. So they should have just, at that point decided to put the ball down. They actually gave Boise State a chance by scoring there to go up by 2 scores. So I got, a lot of obviously Fire Avalos comments in here. We're going to the ICCU YouTube chat. Idaho Central Credit Union. Check them out. Do it more than 500,000 Idahoans have done. Make the switch today. Idaho Central Credit Union. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but the mobile e-branch online banking on your phone, so easy to move money around, and we're very appreciative of our friends over at Idaho Central Credit Union. And we check the ICCU YouTube chat. Fire Avalos tomorrow, Chad says. Agreed to fire Avalos and get a head start on the search. It's not happening. It's not. I would be stunned. I would be absolutely stunned if Andy Avalos doesn't get to finish out the season. I mean, you lose to New Mexico at home next week. Maybe that changes, but I fully expect Andy Avalos to get through the season. And I'll be honest, I fully expect that Andy Avalos, you're not going to want to hear this, chug another Cutwater, folks. But at this point, I still fully expect Andy Avalos, I'm not reporting this, it's just my opinion. I fully expect Andy Avalos to be back next year as the coach. So maybe if they lose out and they go 4-8, maybe there's, maybe that changes. But as of right now, I would still be surprised if Andy Avalos was not the coach in 2024. And I know none of you guys want to hear that at this point. Marlon Hall saying the coaches are awful, but they have a very young team. They're playing a lot of young players, and at this point, based on what I've heard, Andy Avalos will be back next year. Nate Staley agrees with me. They're not firing Andy Avalos. We should give some props to Jonah Dalmas, by the way. Congratulations, Jonah, on his record. He makes 3 field goals tonight. He is now the all-time field goals record holder at Boise State, passing Kyle Brotzman. 67 was the record, and I think he's up to 69 now. So nice effort from Jonah Dalmas, who is now the all-time field goal record holder for Boise State with 3 field goals from 45, 38, and then 52 yards as well with 31 seconds left there. So that 52-yarder gave them a chance at the end of the game to have the onside kick. It just didn't work out for him. So 127 of you guys, and the number is still climbing, watching this thing as we approach 1 o'clock in the morning back in Boise. So truly appreciate you guys for staying up late with us. And we get the extra hour of sleep, so we can keep this thing going. My flight's at 7 a.m., but we got no reason to. We can just stay up all night if we need to. We got plenty of things to talk about. George Helani picked up the pace a little bit without having, Ashton Genty. I mean, Boise State had a number of players injured in this game tonight, or not injured in the game, but that didn't play in this game. Ashton Genty was the big one, but you didn't have Marco Notriani at linebacker. You didn't have Dimitri Washington tonight. You didn't have Matt Lauder at tight end. Keanohi Kaniho was out. I mean, there was several players that are on the 2-deep roster for Boise State that did not make the trip. So that's not an excuse, but they were without a lot of key guys tonight. George Helani had 79 rushing yards and a touchdown. Maddox Madsen finished with 61 rushing yards. You had 1 rush for 18 yards for Caden Dudley. Breezy Dubar got 1 carry for 13 yards. I thought we'd see a little more Breezy tonight. I was a little surprised, I guess, because they were losing probably for a good chunk of the game, so they had to pass the ball. Obviously, but I still thought, 1 carry, 13 yards, and that was it for Breezy Dubar. I was a little surprised we didn't get more actions from him. And this is really what it comes down to. And there's a couple of things to say with this, but Boise State had 45 pass attempts tonight. 19 of the 45 targets, 19 targets went to Eric McAllister, and only 6 targets went to the next leading guy, George Helani and Billy Bowens. So Eric McAllister getting targeted basically 3 to 4 times more than any other player on the team that got targeted. And so overall, he was just under half the pass attempts were targeted towards Eric McAllister. I get it; he's your best receiver, and he is going to catch the ball most of the time. But you can't try to throw it to Eric McAllister on every play, and you've got to have some other guys step up. Billy Bowens had 3 catches for 40 yards. Chase Penry came back from an injury, had 2 catches for 29 yards. How about Austin Bolt? Really nice to see him get his first catch for 33 yards. Prince Strawn had a 22-yard catch. That was nice. But Steph Cobbs went down with the injury. That was unfortunate. But he only had 1 catch for 13 yards before going out. I just think that you have to find some other receivers that can make some plays, and you have to get the confidence in these receivers from the quarterbacks to where they're not just trying to throw it to Eric McAllister every play. 19 targets, and Eric McAllister only had 8 catches. So 11 times they threw the ball to Eric McAllister, and it was an incomplete pass. So that's obviously not what you're looking to do there. So 45 pass attempts, 24 completions, counting the trick play there. Brent Chapman saying that they were double and triple teamed. So, agree with that. Chad Scott, offense is not the issue. They scored 30. Can we get someone in the media to discuss the defense? Yeah, we've been discussing the defense. They obviously didn't play great. They gave up some third downs, gave up some yards. 7 of the points were on the special teams. Really, this came down, guys. The defense didn't play great, but I thought they played well enough to win, to be honest with you. The real problem was 2 turnovers by the offense and the kick return. If they don't give up the special teams kick return, they win this game. And I also think that they had 2 interceptions. So did the defense play as good as they did last week? No, not at all. The defense did not play great, but I would say that certainly the offense with the 2 turnovers and then the play of the game was the right before halftime, the gut punch there with the kick return. So I'm not saying the defense is scapegoating it or anything. I'm not saying they had nothing to do with it, but I don't think they played terrible in this game. The tackling wasn't great. The third downs wasn't great. The defense certainly had some problems. Gave up 441 yards, 6.4 yards per play. Let's see here. Gave up 303 passing yards, only gave up 138 rushing yards, but Fresno State's not a very good rushing team. And at the end of the game, they couldn't make the stops when they needed to there. Third down, Fresno State was 8 of 15 on third down, and Fresno State was 3 for 3 in the red zone there. So, defense certainly had time of possession. Somebody's asking about 30. It was pretty much even. 30 minutes and 29 seconds for Fresno State, 29 minutes, 31 seconds for Boise State. So time of possession was pretty much even. Trent, we did talk about this. Maddox Madsen put up some decent numbers. Also had a couple a couple of really nice throws. Let's give him credit. That pass for the touchdown, I believe, to Billy Bowens, the 2-yard pass right there before the half. That was a great throw, threading the needle, awesome throw there. But he also did have a couple that should have been intercepted. He had one that was almost a pick six. He had another one that was not a great pass as well. So, I thought Maddox Madsen did okay. He had some really nice throws. He had the nice touchdown run. But again, we're talking a little different about Maddox Madsen if one or two of those passes gets picked off. So, TNT says, let's see here. This is a long game question. The youngest team in the nation, if we get it together through next year, could be a contender for the playoff. Nobody wants to hear that right now, and I get it. But, if they were to keep a good chunk of the roster together, make some additions in the transfer portal, you don't play Fresno next year, you don't play Air Force, you don't play San Diego State. The conference schedule is much easier next year. And then you get, Oregon State at home. So, there certainly is a chance. There's a chance to do some things next year if you can keep a lot of the roster together, but I don't know if that's going to happen. This is an interesting point, and we were talking about this in some of the media after the game. Don't know if that was the case this week. We knew on Monday, that it had been 25% of the snaps for Maddox. I don't know this week if they changed that or not, knowing that he was maybe going to be in the game more. But again, the first 10 plays or so are scripted. And the second play of the game, they ran Maddox Madsen in there. So their plan all week was to let Taylon Green start and play one play and then switch quarterbacks. And that, to me, just makes little sense. Why not just start Maddox Madsen if you're going to put him in there on the second and third play of the game? Again, they really like what Maddox does. And I know passing the ball downfield is something that, when you're losing the game, he's obviously going to be the quarterback that's in there more because they have to pass. Again, he was a little over 50% completion percentage. But I thought he did some nice things, and he was moving the ball there. The 27-yard touchdown run with 4:40 to go gave him a chance. They just were not able to, complete the comeback there at the end of the game. And but I think I stopped charting the snaps, but I think the snaps were probably 90% for Maddox Madsen. Does that seem too high? I'd say Maddox Madsen probably played 90% of the snaps. It was fairly close, maybe not that high, 75-80. It was fairly close in the first half to 50-50, and then the second half was almost Maddox exclusively, especially down the stretch. I'm wondering if Taylon Green has already told Andy Avalos he's transferring, and this is the deal they have. If he's already said he's transferring, why would they still be playing him? If he says he's transferring, they would say then get off the team now. I love you, Nate. Respect your opinions, but I don't think that is at all the case. If a player tells the coach he's transferring, they're not going to still start him and put him out there. They're going to say, "We'll just leave now," and thanks for your time. I'm canceling my BAA membership and Blue Collar Club if Andy Avalos is here next year. I started watching in 04. I've only missed one game since 06. I can't watch this anymore. Something needs to change, or TG and Ashton Genty will make an exit. Let's see. Passing to EMAC and handing off to Genty is our total offense every game. Like I said, you had 19 targets for 19 targets for Eric McAllister tonight, but he only had 8 catches. So 11 times they tried to force it to McAllister. A lot of times he was getting double and triple teamed. That obviously didn't work out. I thought he played pretty well. But again, let's give props to Austin Bolt. What a story. Cool story for Austin Bolt, dealing with a ton of injuries, been working his way. And working his way back, and for him to come back and get out there and have a 33-yard catch, that's a sign of things to come. If Austin Bolt can stay healthy, I think him and Prince Strawn have a chance to be serious players for this team moving forward, especially on the deep passes there. We will get to a bowl, and that will mean Dickey keeps Avalos for another mediocre season in 2024. Chad, I don't know about the mediocre season part, but I do agree with you on like I said earlier in the show, I believe that Andy Avalos will be back next year. I'm just guessing. Peyton says Andy Avalos is gone if we lose one of the next 2 games. Take it to the bank, as Johnny would say. A lot of the food groups covered in this one. Yeah, that is certainly a thought. I mean, New Mexico at home would be a horrible loss, and maybe that changes things. But as of right now, I think it's still pretty strong that Andy Avalos will be back next year. I just don't think they're ready to make a change there. A lot of the big money boosters, I think, are big fans of Andy Avalos still. So I think that's going to help his case. And I really do think that they believe they're close. I mean, maybe we'll hear it on Monday, but what are they, 9 points from being 8-1? Is that the math now? Losing, I guess you lost by 7 after the late touchdown. They were down 3, I guess, at one point. So I guess it's not quite like that. It's 15 points or something from being 8-1. But it is what it is. They're 4-5. They're 3-2 in the Mountain West. How could you seriously think Andy Avalos will be back? He is terrible. Just because I just, my opinion, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. I just do not think they're ready to make a change at that point at the head coaching position. But again, depending on how the other 3 games go here, maybe that changes. If they're 4-8, yeah, he's probably gone. If they're 6-6, I think he's back. So if they get to 6-6, what bowl game are they going to? Is this the year they would finally just stay and play in the Potato Bowl? The only problem with that is it's December 23rd, right before the holidays. The Hawaii Bowl could be an option, but it's also December 23rd. But I don't think the Barstool Bowl wants any part of them. I guess you have the New Mexico Bowl, but not going to be a lot of great options for a 6-6 Boise State team. The best they can do now is 7-5. The over-under at Circa Las Vegas was 8 wins was the over-under for Boise State this year. They have clinched the under. If you have your under tickets, you can go cash those. If you have the over tickets at our friends Circa Resort and Casino, you can now go rip those up. Boise State, the best they can do in the regular season, 7-5, which means at best 2 out of the 3 seasons of Andy Avalos will be 7-5 or worse, depending on what happens here down the stretch. So not good. And in my 11 years here, I can't remember a time like this in my 11 years here where the angst amongst the fan base, and I get it. You guys pay your hard-earned money for tickets. You pay your money for gear and to support the team and donate it. I get it. You have every right to your opinion. I don't always agree with you, but that's the beautiful thing about sports. And in this situation, I totally understand. James says so far it's so disappointing to see how far the program has fallen, and I totally get it. You guys are lifelong Boise State fans. I've only been here 11 years, and I've gotten to know a lot of you guys, and I feel a nice connection to the fan base, and I feel for you guys because I'm not a fan. I'm a media member. It certainly helps the business when they do well. You want to see the players do well. You want to see the coaches do well, obviously for the personal relationship side of things. But I don't, pour my blood, sweat, and tears into this like you guys do. And to see this team be where they're at, 4-5, times we haven't seen around here in a long time. I just got to say that I feel for you guys. I feel for this. It sucks, and we'll see what happens. Certainly for a business that covers Boise State athletics, not something that we want to see either. But like I said, I don't have the emotional, personal connection that you guys have had your whole life, and all the stories of growing up watching these teams and going to all the Fiesta Bowls and everything. And just to be here now at 4-5 and to be, 1:15 in the morning back in Boise and to have 141 people on here talking about some of the problems with Boise State that we're talking about. It's unprecedented times, uncharted times, 2+ decades. You have to go back to find, Boise State being under 500 at this point in the season. And you're going back to like the first couple of years of when they joined Division I, 96, 97, type seasons. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I get it. I feel bad for you guys. I'm sorry. It sucks. It is what it is. And I just know that it can't be easy for you guys. And so your opinions, I don't always agree with them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but you're more than entitled in the ICCU YouTube chat to give your honest thoughts and opinions. And certainly there's plenty to say tonight after the way this one went. Again, 37-30 is the final. We got folks wanting Kent Riddle back for special teams coach. Chad says at the very least, I think the special teams coach is getting the boot. There's been a lot of turnover. If you just look at Andy Avalos' tenure here, I think there's been multiple staff changes every year that, in the first 2 off seasons. So I think just looking at the track record of how college football works, there certainly is probably going to be a couple of staff changes, and special teams and corners are the same coach, DeMario Warren. There's going to be a lot of different things to look at and see what happened. But, there's been, like I said, some turnover. You're probably going to have a coach go, and I'm not calling for anybody's job right now. These guys are, they're coaches. They got families. It's a tough business for everybody involved. But certainly the special teams haven't been great at times. The corner position, the secondary hasn't been great at times. So, you can look at obvious positions that they might look to make a change at, and certainly that's probably one area they could go. But again, 3 games left. A lot can still happen here in the last 3 games, and we'll see moving forward. Randall Clark is watching. I clicked on the wrong one. Randall Clark is watching in Japan right now. So glad I didn't have to stay up late for the game and the result at least. Randall, thank you for watching from Japan. We truly appreciate you for doing that. Let's go ahead and take a 90-second break. I'm going to play a little bit of Andy Avalos. We won't play the whole thing. We'll play a couple questions of Andy Avalos when we come back. Let's take a 90-second break. Don't go anywhere. Go to the bathroom, get another Cutwater, and we'll be right back in 90 seconds. We'll hear from Andy Avalos and some players after Boise State loses this one 37-30 at Fresno State.
All Bronco Nation news broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU, and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com.
All right, back here from the Cutwater Mobile Studios on the road in Fresno, California. We are actually in the radio booth of the great Bob Beeler as we and Pete. We'll throw Pete Cavender some love too, but yeah, we are in the radio booth here as we come to you on the post-game show. Again, 37-30, the final score tonight. Boise State dropping to 4-5 on the season, now 3-2 in Mountain West play, and any dream of a Mountain West championship is pretty much over. They have not been mathematically eliminated, but it would take a lot of crazy stuff happening for Boise State to get back in the picture for the Mountain West title. So at this point, you're fighting for a bowl game. You're fighting for 6-6. You're fighting to keep that winning, 25 straight winning seasons alive. If you can get to 6-6 and win the bowl game, you can keep that streak alive. But not a lot of things to be super excited about for Boise State football right now. And you know what? Like I said, it's been a weird year. It's been a weird year. You could have won the UCF game, could have won the Memphis game, but they're just not able to get it done. They were underdogs on the road tonight. I actually felt pretty good about this one for Boise State. I thought they'd come in and find a way to win this game. Looked like they were maybe going to have a chance to do that. Starting to make that comeback there before halftime, but just a killer play, as you're going to hear Andy Avalos talk about the kickoff return there on the on the last play of the first half. Jonah Dalmas had a chance. He tried to just knock him out of bounds. He should have maybe tried to do more of an actual tackle. But again, in that spot, we're not going to put it on Jonah Dalmas, not tackling the guy. Now his kick, the kick could have been a little better, as you're going to hear Andy Avalos say. But it is what it is. Broncos lose again, 4-5 on the season, 3 games to go. The best they can do at this point is 7-5. Who would have thought we'd be at this point at 1:17 in the morning back in Boise, saying with 3 games to go, the best Boise State can do is 7-5, and that's still having to play an Air Force team that I know lost today to Army, but that's going to be an extremely difficult game. Going on the road to Utah State, I don't think it's going to be a guaranteed win. But man, they better bring it next week against New Mexico. You wonder what that crowd's going to look like too, by the way. 8 p.m. game for a 4-5 team, 2 under 500 teams playing in 40-degree temperature at 8 p.m. next Saturday. Good luck to Boise State selling tickets this week for the New Mexico game. I could see that being a tough ticket. Let's see. Bring back Harsin. I don't think that's happening. Broncos are Big Sky bound in 2024. That's not happening either. Let's see here. This is a disaster. Would rather do yard work than watch an Avalos team lose to California. Let's see what else we got here. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I clicked on the wrong one there. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. The story of Avalos' career. Let's see. Avalos has lost more games than Peterson in 3 years. Yeah, I mean, they were in the WAC for a lot of that. They were playing different competition. The competition has certainly gone up, I think, but that certainly is, tough to look at the stats where Andy Avalos is at right now. Let's hear from Andy Avalos, Boise State's head coach. The Broncos fall 37-30 at Fresno State. Here is Boise State's head coach after the game.
We stayed in this game and fought all the way to the end on the onside kick. I really feel for our players. Their fight and working to, play from trailing behind, from 10-0 deficit from early on in the game and working to find ways to get ourselves back in the game, making plays, getting ourselves back into a one-possession game. Unfortunately, we're unable to pull it out tonight. But it went all the way down to an onside kick at the end, and I love the players for their fight and what they were able to do. We needed to get off the field on third downs more. When you play an offense like this that is capable of throwing the ball the way they are, we didn't do a good enough job getting off the field in third down situations, and ultimately applying pressure onto the quarterback. And so that's on us. We got to make sure that we're dialed in those situations so that we can be successful. We were moving the ball early on in the game, and we had 2 turnovers, and we found a way still, though, as we were moving into the half there to put ourselves in position, especially getting the ball. And ultimately, we were chasing those 7 points on the kickoff return that we gave up just before the half, and that's on us. We got to do a better job. I got to do a better job making sure that we get in those situations, and we fully understand when we kick a squib kick exactly where that ball needs to be, because we got guys that are capable of putting the ball wherever we need them to, on the field there, and being able to get out of that half and then come out and still the middle 8. We didn't get that done, which that would have gave us a ton of momentum there. So for our team, as we move forward, we have the opportunity to be 1-0 next week, and it's a 24-hour rule just like it is when we win. We got guys that care deeply. I feel for the guys looking at them as they walk off the field and into the locker room. This team cares. You can see in terms of how they fought, all the way to the end. And, it's guys went down in the game, and there were guys that stepped up, moved positions, and, gave us a shot, again, ultimately to have a chance to play for the win at the end. And I love them for that. I'm proud of them for that. We will we'll look at the film, and we're going to find ways to be able to grow, especially as we go down the stretch here.
Obviously not the outcome you wanted, but Jonah was a bright spot tonight. He set the program career record for field goals. I mean, what has it been like? What does it say about him to go from a walk-on to now being the most productive kicker in Boise State history?
Yeah, just exceptional young man, not only in his skill set and what he's able to do, but who he is as a person, and just proud of him. I mean, there's it's not the outcome we want. We've obviously had some tough losses this year, but there's a bunch of great young men on this team that are doing unbelievable things, and will continue to grow forward. Jonah's just, we're fortunate to have Jonah part of this program and be a part of what he's been able to do, all the success that he's had while he's been here.
Yeah, the kickoff return right before half. I mean, you touched on it. Squib kick was good. Was it just a coverage issue there?
I mean, ultimately, when we squib like that, we don't want the ball going back to the returners. I mean, when you're going to squib in that situation, you don't want the ball in their hands, for obvious reasons. And again, that's on us to make sure that we get that executed better next time. That's 7 seconds on the clock there. It's a deeper squib, but you want to make sure it goes to one of the upbacks, not to one of the return guys. And then we've got to be able to cover, we've got to be able to cover the kick, especially being that it wasn't in the middle of the field. We got to be able to get down in our coverage lanes to take leverage, read how the front line is blocking, and we had too much space right in the middle, in between each side of the kicker.
What about the play where Austin got called for waving his arm? That obviously puts you guys in a tough spot back at the 3-yard line.
They said that he simulated a fair catch signal and was not the ball. He was not the intended returner. So because of that, we're down wherever the man that did not signal caught the ball.
Maddox wasn't perfect tonight, but he showed the toughness and grit that he always shows. I mean, what can you say about how he performed tonight?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately down the stretch, he gives us the best option to be able to, lead an offense to play from behind, and was pretty impressive on how we were moving the ball down the field, and ultimately, we spread the ball around to a bunch of different wide receivers tonight. It was good to see. Like, Chase had a huge catch down the stretch there. It was awesome to see Austin Bolt have a catch. We got to be able to build off of that, just to be able to have that consistency and play with pace like that. Once we, we're able to get the sticks moving, we got to be able to play with some pace like that, whether it's in the run game and the pass game, because we've seen that throughout the course of the year we've been able to score fairly quickly and move the ball down the field when we use those tempo mechanisms that we do have, and that's something that we will build on as we move forward here.
42 pass attempts for Maddox tonight compared to just 2 for Taylor, and it seems like each game Maddox is getting more and more of the. Is he kind of overtaking Taylor, or I mean, what's kind of going on?
He has definitely been able to execute more in the passing game more efficiently. It's led to our pass game numbers increasing. And ultimately really gave us a shot to win tonight by how he performed. And that's something that, I mean, again, we'll be able to evaluate as we move forward here, and what gives us the best shot to be 1-0 next week is what we'll do.
You had 19 targets, I think, for Eric McAllister, and then the next guy had 6. I mean, how much more do you need some other guys to get involved in the passing game?
Yeah, and that's really comes down to spreading it around too. Again, we had, Chase Pennery came off, being injured, and in his first game back, I mean, he had a huge catch just a second ago. Being able to spread the ball around to different guys, with Steph going down, some other guys got to jump in there, and a guy like Chase jumped in there and made some plays. And again, Austin, we got to get Austin going, in the pass game, and we've got other wide receivers too who are very capable, but again, we've got to get ourselves in that position where we can use that tempo and use the tempo pass game and get rolling. That's shown to be really efficient for us this year in terms of being able to move the ball up and down the field. And ultimately, though, we got to capitalize, in the red zone. We got to do a better job in the red zone. Late there, we had a huge play from Mad Dog, with his run on his scramble. And, it was pretty impressive to see him do that.
Early on, Keen was really eating you guys up with a deep ball. I think tonight he hit 5 passes of 20 yards or more. This seems to be a weekly issue for you guys. As you go back and look at the film, what's the common denominator?
Last week we gave up 1,
right.
So this week that's something that we've been trying to work on and obviously eliminate. Early on in the game, they hit a few of them in tempo situations that we've got to be able to put the defense in better calls to be able to handle those situations. But ultimately, it comes down to being able to apply pressure on the quarterback, and we've got to be able to get ourselves in certain calls that can do that. We've got to be able to win our one-on-ones up front and be able to play with leverage in terms of where wide receivers are lined up and how we're executing our techniques and coverage on the outside.
We'll stop it there, and you can watch the rest of Andy Avalos' postgame press conference if you wish on the YouTube channel of Bronco Nation News. It is already up there right now for your viewing pleasure, or viewing disgust, I guess, if you, to put it better maybe. But again, Boise State 37-30. Andy Avalos a little defensive there, talking about the defense. He said, well, we only gave up 1 explosive play last week. It was against a Wyoming offense that really doesn't pass the ball that well to begin with. So, I get that, but certainly defense, 5 passing plays of at least 20 yards again allowed tonight. So tackling I didn't think was great in this game tonight. I thought that there was some missed tackles. By the way, there was a horrible spot, and I don't remember if they ended up scoring on that drive or what, but there was 2 or 3 missed tackles. So I'm not going to put it all in the spot. Like it should have been a 4-yard game. Like 3 guys missed tackles, and then the guy is, in my opinion, a full yard short of the first down, and they just walked him out there and said first down and just didn't even review it or look at it or what. I don't remember exactly when that was in the game, but I thought there was a horribly spotted ball on 3rd down that would have brought up 4th and 1. And that at that point, Boise State, they probably would have punted the ball and Boise State would have got it back. And I don't remember exactly when that was in the game. I think it was 3rd quarter at some point. But I thought that was okay. Brent Chapman says they scored. Evans says they had a touchdown on that drive, if I remember correctly. Coach Avalos didn't question it. Spot was short. Yeah. That was I thought a pretty big spot in the game where it would have been 4th and 1, and the referee just kind of thought nonchalantly just pointed first down. So again, there was 2 or 3 missed tackles before the guy got to the 1 yard. So I'm not going to put it all on the referee for the spot there. But I thought that, they obviously could have tackled better in this game. That was a play they certainly missed a couple tackles on, even let the guy get near the marker. But I certainly thought that was a bad spot on that one, and that really hurt Boise State in that situation. Let's see what else we got here. We got some more comments coming in. I'm looking at some of the overall stats. Not great. We get this kind of 30-page packet here with all the stats, the play-by-play, all the drive charts, all kinds of stuff. And, Boise State, the one kind of stat that they're going to look at certainly is going to be, there's a couple, but the final score 37-30. I thought that, the first half, again, the 2 interceptions, the field goal in the first drive where I think they got into the red zone and couldn't do anything with it. But the back-to-back interceptions, one from Madsen and then one from Green, that's really where this game comes down to. People want to get on the defense and all this, and that's fine. No one played great in this game, but in my opinion, it was the 7-point swing on the play on the last play of the first half, giving up a kick return touchdown. Which, by the way, Fresno State didn't have a kick return touchdown since 2008. 647 straight kick returns for Fresno State. 647. Did not go for a touchdown until that one that we just saw in the last play of the first half. So it was something that Fresno State, 15 years since they had a kick return touchdown. Boise State gives it up at a horrible time there on the last play of the first half. You heard Andy Avalos basically say Jonah Dalma shouldn't have squib kicked it all the way to the guy. And it was obviously, he took credit because he's the coach, but he also kind of made it known, like Jonah Dalma, when you do a squib kick, you don't kick it all the way to the kicker. So he just kicked it too hard and it bounced right to the guy. and the middle was open, and then the rest was history there. But it was that play right there that gave up the touchdown right before half, and then it was the 2 interceptions. I mean, if you are able to take care of the ball, you probably win this game. That's 2 more possessions where you could have scored on. So I think that it comes down to turnovers. I mean, props to Shea Oladipo. He had a huge interception there at the end of the first half, which you thought, which came down, and Boise State scored with 7 seconds left, and you're like, okay, that was a huge, game-changing interception for Shea Oladipo, and this team's only going to be down 3 at halftime, and they get the ball to start the second half, and then boom, the kick return happens, and the rest is kind of history there. Maddox Madsen, is he your starting quarterback? Is Maddox Madsen the starting quarterback going into next week's game? We'll find out, but he talked with the media after the game. Maddox Madsen, we're going to hear from him in 90 seconds. Don't go anywhere. We got to thank some more of our sponsors. We'll be right back on Bronco Nation News, and we'll hear from Maddox Madsen in 90 seconds.
Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Alquist and Ball Ventures Alquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON Management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON Management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Talon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, Maddox Madsen. What did you guys think of his performance? Maddox Madsen tonight goes 22 of 42, so a completion percentage just over 50%. Passes for 258 yards and a touchdown. Beautiful pass, threading the needle there to Billy Bowens with 7 seconds left before the half, but was sacked once. Did throw the interception, and again, I'm just being honest, had 2 or 3 throws at least that could have been intercepted. There was one, would have been a pick six. Linebacker, I think, stepped in front and dropped it. There was another one where a Boise State receiver had to knock it away from being picked. There was a couple, and the pick that he threw, I mean, just didn't see the guy, but he just threw it right to their linebacker there. Just a really bad ball in that interception. So there was some good, there was some bad from Maddox Madsen. I think it's very interesting. You kind of read the tea leaves there. It sounds like that they really believe in Maddox Madsen. Andy Avalos said he gives us the best chance to, when they're trailing to move the ball through the air. Talked about some of the passing numbers. You have to wonder if they just make the switch and make him the starting quarterback here. But, you could also look at that and say, hey, we gave him a pretty good chance here, and he had an interception and a couple more that could have been picked. And maybe they decide to go back to Green and give Green the majority of the snaps here. I think you have to pick one or the other at this point, and it's pretty evident that which way they're going. I mean, that's 4 games in a row now where Madsen has had more snaps than Green. Grand Teton says, let's admit it, Madsen isn't good. Ryan wants TG10 and different coaching. Talon isn't much better, though. From how much he played, he's the starter. Madsen made some bad throws. Maddox Madsen could have been picked off legitimately 5 or more times tonight. Yeah, that might be a little high, but there was 2 or 3 throws, certainly. Mike says Maddox Madsen, not the guy. Talon Green should have been given the reins no matter what for the rest of the season. It can't be worse. I kind of agree with you, Mike, but I think they need to just pick somebody. Pick somebody for the game against New Mexico and let them play the entire game. I think you just need to, I think Green could beat New Mexico. I think Green should be the guy, but if you want to play Madsen and you think he's your guy,
then just play Madsen. Don't run Talon Green out there for one play so he can be the starter and then bring in Maddox Madsen. You're doing a disservice to both quarterbacks. You're making a mockery of this thing. I just don't understand it. If you were going to play Maddox Madsen that much, it made no sense to play him for one play. I just don't understand what that was about. And again, that was scripted. So they had all week in the game plan to let Talon Green start and then bring Maddox Madsen in for the second play of the game. So it is what it is. Neither QB is good enough to win. TG looked better tonight, and his legs are better in general. Hard to say he looked better when he had 2 pass attempts. I mean, he had another one that was called back due to a pass interference. But when Talon Green was in the game, they were running the ball 98% of the time. And again, second half, I don't even know if he took a snap in the second half. If he did, it was only a couple. Let's see here. I'd rather watch Josh McDaniels coach this team, to be honest. That'd be fun. That'd be interesting. Mad Dog looks sloppy. Yeah, I mean, again, he made some really nice throws. I'm not here to trash Maddox Madsen. I thought he did some nice things tonight, but he did have a couple passes that could have been picked off. The Boise State players walking through the Fresno State fans after the game, it had to be tough. It was, and I got some video of it that I showed at the beginning of the show. I can play that again maybe at some point here before we get out of here, but it was not a lot of cussing, a lot of throwing, and there was some strength coach guys for Boise State and the coaching staff trying to get all the players through before they were, anything got physical or anything. The Fresno State fans were liquored up and letting them have it. So let's hear from Maddox Madsen. Again, is Maddox Madsen starting next week? Is Talon Green going to start? I don't know, but 42 pass attempts for Maddox Madsen. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Questions for Maddox?
Yeah, it hurts. I mean, everyone cares so much. I mean, this is a team full of guys that love to play the game and love to play for each other. So that happening, it's super unfortunate. And Fresno's a good team, but we know we got to be better and all those things. But it's a tough one. It's hard to swallow for sure.
Andy said that he feels like you give them the best chance to win right now, or at least with the circumstances of tonight. What do you think you're doing to put yourself in that position, Maddox?
I mean, when it just comes down to playing football, it's a tough situation right now, and just playing football, that's what you got to do at this point. So
I think Bush said earlier this week that you're still, I don't know if it changed this last week, but as of last Monday, that you're getting like 25% of the reps in practice. Is that pretty accurate? And then how to play, 75% in the game, how tough is that?
Yeah, I mean, that's not something I really control or think about. I wouldn't know, honestly. I go to practice every day and just do my part at practice. So I don't look into it too much, and it's something, like I said, it's a super tough situation. Not very many people do it. So, and obviously at this point we're a little used to it. So it's just getting better week by week and understand the flow of it for sure.
It seems like every week you're getting more and more reps. Just kind of, how are you kind of embracing that and just, making the most of what when you can do it?
Yeah, it's like you just said, make the most of it. Every opportunity that you get, it's a blessing. So making the most of that blessing and doing your 111 for the team to help them win.
I think 3 weeks ago, Emac had 5 targets in the game, and we're like, man, he needs more than that. Tonight he had 19. What do you think of his performance? And you need other playmakers to lean on at times too, I guess.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's a lot of guys that caught the ball tonight, but obviously Eric's a Blitnikoff on the watch list, so he's a playmaker, and so it's like you said, a lot of targets to him. It's got to happen, and he'll make plays, and so that's a playmaker.
What did you see on that last touchdown run? I mean, you utilized your legs there, kind of on that last drive a couple of times.
Yeah, Bush is super heavy on vertical run opportunities, and especially when obviously they were playing super soft for the majority of the game, and we went into tempo, and those D linemen were gassed, and it was like first, second, third read weren't there. It's like you had to make a play, and luckily it was just right there, and the ref, I think, had a nice little pick. So,
how special was it for Austin Bolt to get his first career reception after all the work he's done to get back?
Yeah, no, Austin Bolt, I mean, it kind of gave me the chills just barely. That guy's one of the hardest workers, and obviously it's a super unfortunate injury, and then it just kind of, as he was getting back, something else happened. So it's awesome to have him back, and obviously he makes plays. So he's definitely he's a playmaker. He loves his team, so he's going to do whatever he has to.
What do you think of James Ferguson Reynolds' first career pass?
That was awesome. I mean, it kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting it, but him to come in there and convert, we needed that, so it was awesome.
How much do you guys work on that play, and how long you guys been waiting to call it?
I honestly don't really have any idea, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Just with 3 games to go, I mean, it looks tough now for the Mountain West, obviously. I mean, how do you guys kind of rally here and try to finish the season strong?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a team full of competitors, and we're not going to stop. We're going to do everything we can to just keep going.
I know you guys won't use it as an excuse, but, going into halftime with that gut punch, just, how tough was that to kind of respond to?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be a whole, heavyweight fight. That's what we kind of said it was going to be, and that happened. It's like you said, a gut punch, but nobody was really fazed, and we came out of halftime, and I think we had a good second half, so.
Max, what's your preparation process like? Why don't you just continue to complement what you're kind of doing in between game days? So what do you emphasize, and what's your process kind of like? Give you the edge, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, early on, it's like the opponent, right? You get to the opponent, but by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, it's what we got in, the game plan, and I think it's just time. This game's time consuming, and all those coaches work extremely hard. I mean, nobody really knows how hard those guys work when they're in and out of the office. I mean, they're out of the office extremely late, in the office extremely early. So it's just, I mean, getting with those guys helps a lot. I mean, Bush is super helpful when it comes to preparation.
How much time beyond what's required of you do you feel like you put in?
I mean, I don't really know. It's just, I mean, kind of just confidence is where I get to. It's like, if I'm confident, that's where I know I'm prepared.
How do you think you played tonight, personally? I mean, you obviously put up some stats or a couple, throws that they didn't pick that maybe they could have, and you obviously, played pretty well too. I mean, how do you evaluate your game?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not really as an offense, we played extremely awesome. I think we had around 180 rushing yards, something like that. So the rushing part was a big time of the game, and the pass game got there late. So I mean, it's all those guys around me that are helping me for sure.
Anything else? Last one, cool. Quarterback position is such a leadership position, right? And when you have two, I don't know if they're.
All right, we'll get out of it there. If you want to watch the full Maddox Madsen post game, there was a couple of questions left. You can check that out on the Bronco Nation News YouTube channel. Andrew Simpson spoke with the media as well. We're not going to play that here. We'll get that posted to the YouTube channel. So I've still got a full story to write. Paying subscribers at BNN are going to get my thoughts after this one up on the site a little later this evening. And we got the early 7 a.m. Flight tomorrow. So we'll see. I may try to stay in Las Vegas. Our friend Circa Sports, watch some Sunday football tomorrow. My family's at a wedding and doesn't get back till late tomorrow night. So we may extend our layover in Las Vegas again like we did yesterday and see if we can make that happen. But certainly NFL Sunday tomorrow and turning the page for this one for Boise State is 3 games left. And you kind of wonder, what is the motivation for Boise State at this point? How does Andy Avalos get Boise State motivated for the final 3 games of the season? Again, the best they can do if they win out is 7-5. And, that's beating a potentially ranked Air Force team or close to it, 1-loss Air Force team. That has to happen. You've got, that's just to go 7-5. The best they can do is 7-5. A bowl win would be 8-5. So literally the best scenario left for Boise State is to go 8-5 this season, which, not good enough for a lot of people around here. So Boise State 37-30. Again, they fall to Fresno State. If you're a subscriber at Bronco Nation News, we appreciate it. You can read our exclusive content when you wake up tomorrow at bronconationnews.com. If you're not a subscriber, we would love for you to take advantage of the promo code at the bottom of the screen. It is $50 for a full year, and the promo code is BNN50 deal. Full year of Mike Prater's analysis. He'll have a column coming in the next couple of days. My stuff as well. Again, that's $50 for the whole year. We'd love to have you subscribe to BNN, and I'll have my show up there tomorrow, or my story up there tomorrow. If you're just watching us on YouTube, hopefully you're already a subscriber on YouTube. That's free, but you got the red button down there in the bottom of the screen. Hopefully you will subscribe on YouTube. That's free of charge. So you got, as Logan Byler says, basketball on Tuesday. That's right, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. tip-off against Vanguard in the season opener for the basketball team. We'll have the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show starting at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock will be the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show on Tuesday night from Extra Mile Arena. And, the basketball season, I know a lot of excitement already, because of the basketball team. But now with the football team struggling, I think a lot of people are going to jump on board with the basketball team. Somebody's asking about, I saw a couple comments about Andy Avalos' buyout. Grand Teton says, what's the buyout? Genuinely serious. I believe it's about $3 million, but when you factor in the assistant coach contracts, I think Mike Prater, looked it up. I think you're at around $5 million. You got to pay most of Andy Avalos' salary for the next 2 years on the deal. And then you had multi-year deals for the assistant coaches. So I think it's about $5 million when you factor in Andy and the assistant coaches. Coulter Johnson says, I'll be at the St. Mary's game. I will be too. So looking forward to seeing you there. Evan says, I need 96.5 more subs for the silver play button. Yeah, I guess that's what you get when you get 100,000. And then I think if you get 50,000 or 40,000 or something, they send you a little plaque too. So we need to try to work on that. But I would start with 4,000. I would take 4,000 first. We're at like 3,500, I think, for the YouTube subscribers. So if you're all watching on Facebook or Twitter, or if you're on YouTube and not a subscriber on YouTube, we'd love to have you hit that subscribe button real quick. As all the YouTubers say, my kid says, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. And we appreciate that. But again, Andy Avalos' salary, someone says $5 million down the drain. It's $3 million, I think, for Avalos about, and then $2 million for the assistant coaches if you were to clean house after the season. 98.2% chance to beat Vanguard, according to Fox Sports. So there you go. Get excited, Boise State fans. You got a good chance to see a win on Tuesday, and then the first real test will come next Sunday against San Francisco. That game is at 1 o'clock. San Francisco, maybe it's 2 o'clock, I believe. It's on Sunday afternoon. San Francisco at Extra Mile Arena. That's going to be an interesting game there, and I'm really excited about basketball season. We'll have you covered every step of the way at Bronco Nation News. Hoping to make every game this season for basketball. We'll be heading to Clemson. We'll be heading to the Orlando tournament, the Wazoo game up in Spokane. So a lot of coverage of the basketball team coming up and looking forward to that. But still 3 football games to go and potentially a bowl game. And we'll see how this season finishes out and plays out. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up. We're at an hour and 2 minutes tonight. We still got 90 of you watching at almost 2 in the morning back in Boise. By the way, you do get an extra hour of sleep. How about that? You get it's 1:48 in the morning, and I think in 12 minutes it's all of a sudden going to be 1 a.m. again. So enjoy your extra hour of sleep tonight. Always love the clocks turning back, not turning forward. We got our friend Johnny Ballgame watching in. We appreciate that, Johnny. I'm sure their post game was exciting. I always enjoy listening to that on the way home or the next day. The callers and folks on the KBOI post game show with Johnny and Prater. I'm sure that was exciting as well. So. Only reason why Logan Byler is not completely pissed off, he's looking forward to basketball. There you go, Logan. Nick says we're a basketball school now, so only reason I'm still up. There you go. So appreciate you guys. Go subscribe. $50 if you can. Harold says I said pregame he was coming back. I do. Well, that's the wrong one. I can't find it, but yes, I do. I said that earlier in the show. I still think Andy Avalos is back next year. We'll see what happens, obviously, with the last 3 games here, but right now. Yes, Andy Avalos will be back next year, I think. So we'll see. But again, appreciate you all for checking us out. Go subscribe if you can. We would love to have you subscribe. $50, BNN 50 deals, the promo code. And again, if you're watching on social media, these social media shows are free. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. So hopefully you can please support the sponsors. And we'd love to have you, tell the sponsors that you appreciate their support. Post the social media graphic having a Cutwater and tag me. We'd love that. If any of the other sponsors, ICCU or Lithia Ford or BVA or Taco Bell, go eat a meal at Taco Bell and then take a picture and let us show the folks at Taco Bell that the advertising is working. So appreciate all you guys for supporting the sponsors. This YouTube show here is free. And we couldn't be in Fresno, couldn't be doing this coverage without the support of all of our sponsors. And the sponsors are only going to support us if you guys are supporting them and making this thing work. So it's a big circle here, and we would love to be able to obviously continue this. And we'd love to be able to tell our sponsors that their ad dollars are working. So next time you support one of the sponsors, which you hope you will, please let us know and post it on social media. Help spread the word about BNN and all of our great sponsors and what we're doing. So they will want to tell their friends and want to keep this thing rolling. So Boise State falls 37-30 tonight. We got a flight in 7 hours, and I still got a story to write, so maybe one of those all-nighters tonight. We'll see. But plenty of Diet Dr. Pepper in the press box. Might have to take a few back to the hotel here and write our story. So thank you so much, you guys, for sticking with us for over an hour when it's literally almost 2 o'clock in the morning back in Boise, and appreciate you for staying up late with us. Tough one for Boise State. They fall 37-30. Interesting topics all week. What happens at the quarterback position? And again, basketball game on Tuesday night. We'll have you covered there as well. But 9 a.m. on Monday, Mike Prater and I, 9 a.m. on Monday. I'll get Mike Prater's thoughts on this, and we'll start to see what happens here in the final 3 games. It'll be an 8 p.m. game against New Mexico. We'll see what that crowd ends up looking like. Good luck to Boise State selling tickets for that one. 8 p.m. game against New Mexico. Then the road game at Utah State. By the way, Boise State now 1-4 on the road this season with the loss to Fresno State. Boise State 1-4 on the road, and their one win was a 3-point thrilling win against a really, really bad San Diego State team. So for whatever reason, Boise State, and again, some of the games have been tough games, but just not getting it done, not playing well on the road. And they do have one road game left a lot of your predictions have been wrong this year. Well, I usually say they're going to win, so I try to take the glass half full in a lot of these games, and it's not coming true. So trying to take the positive route here in a couple of these games. I thought they'd beat UCF. I thought they'd beat Memphis. Thought they'd win tonight. So, yeah, I have been trying to take the positive approach. It hasn't really worked at times, and certainly Boise State again falls. But, again, 1-4 on the road, and they have a road game left at Utah State. And then they finish up with Air Force at home, and they have to find a way to win 2 of 3 for Boise State to make a bowl. That's just crazy to even think about. Boise State has to win 2 of the final 3 games just to make a bowl game here. It is pretty crazy. So thank you guys. Appreciate it. Seriously, I bow down to you guys for staying up this late, for subscribing, for commenting, all the great stuff that you guys do. It's a lot of fun, and I do this because of the interactions with you guys and the friendships and things that we're making along the way. I never met a lot of you, but I feel like I know you. So I appreciate all you guys for the comments and things. Again, 37-30 coverage all week, BroncoNationNews.com, the 9 a.m. morning shows here on YouTube. We'll have the evening shows. Ball Talk is back on Monday with Johnny and Sanford. And then the New Mexico game next week, 4 o'clock. If you're in Boise, come hang out at the James, meet Mike Sanford, meet Kent Riddle, meet some of our friends, 4 o'clock next Saturday at the James for the extended version of the pregame shows. We have some fun out on the patio. So have a great rest of your evening. Appreciate you guys. Go check out BroncoNationNews.com. When you wake up tomorrow, I'll have a story up there, and hopefully you'll consider subscribing. And appreciate you guys for everything that you're doing. And we'll talk to you Monday. Mike Prater, 9 a.m. Again, Boise State falls 37-30. This will do it from the Cutwater Mobile Studios here at Bulldog Stadium. The Broncos fall to 4-5 on the season. And this will do it. The Lithia Florida Boise postgame show. My name is BJ Rains. Thank you to all of you. And have a great rest of your evening. We'll talk to you guys Monday morning with Mike Prater here from Bulldog Stadium, signing off after a 37-30 loss. Have a good rest of your weekend, everybody. We'll talk.